This is Life After a Cult, and we are going to do some rapid fire, get to know me while I get to know you questions. Thank you, moderators, for being here. Everybody hear me okay? I can't tell if my mic's working or this is going through the phone. Oh, but I got to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Hold on. Focus. Do Not Disturb. There we go. There we go. Ta-da! Hey, Anna from Canada. Let's just jump in and start with your question. What was your favorite cartoon as a child? Ooh, probably when I was younger, Smurfs. I really like Smurfs. Y'all remember Smurfs? Hey, Antics of a Mama Squirrel. Hey, Thank you, Mama Opal. Aloha, Laura Font. We're going to be doing some fun questions. I've got some all set that have been sent, and if you guys have some too, because, you know, what better way to get to know your resident former cult member than some rapid fire questions? Aloha, SP Crusader. Thanks for your email, by the way. Chantel, good to see you. Mar, I'm glad you made it. Linda Lou, that's a tough one to answer. The one about your favorite cartoon? I think it's like Smurfs, I have to say. Hey, Joel Sachs. Thanks for being here. Vanessa, good to see you. Northern Girl, I'm so glad you're here as well. I'm editing a known roamer in San Francisco. Antics of a Mama Squirrel, that sounds exciting. Reprise, hey, good to see you. Mock, yeah, Smurfs were awesome. La, 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 la. Remember that, the theme song? I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I can do the theme song to Smurfs. Yeah, don't forget to double tap and like and hit that subscribe button, especially if you like a lot of culty topics. But today we're doing a little bit of a Q&A, get to know me. We had fun doing this the other day. I have a bunch more questions pulled up took them from email, put them all in a list, took some questions that you guys asked earlier that I wasn't able to get to, and we're gonna go ahead and do those. RFS tables, yeah. Go ahead and type in your questions. I've got my list, but I'm going to try and grab as many from the chat as I can as well. Nina's Nook, good to see you. So while you're typing that in, I'll start with some that I have here. Hey, Cricket Cinema. Hear me out, Hefty Smurf. Laura Font, that's hilarious. One of the earlier questions was, if you guys are just joining, what's your favorite cartoon character? Or cartoon. Yeah, when I was much younger, it was Smurfs. Then I remember really liking Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo, where are you? Because I loved suspense and the mystery of it. So I think that's why I like Scooby-Doo. Hey, me and Taz. All right, I'm going to grab one of these questions. How did you and Tony meet? Okay, I've shared this before, so I'll kind of make it quick, and since you guys have heard this. Do you have hold that question. I'm going to grab RFS tables. Do you have a favorite single or favorite singer or favorite song? My all-time favorite song, is probably Billy Joel's Just the Way You Are, which is really dating myself. As far as favorite singer, I don't think I have just one. I really like Jack Johnson. So I might have to pick him if I had to pick a favorite. But I do like that one of all-time favorite songs. Oh, Mikey Dove, what's your favorite dish made with Spam? Spam musubi. Just some fried Spam, some rice, wrapped in some seaweed. Call it a day. I don't even need a lot of sauce. RFS Table says my fave is Elvis Presley. Oh, good one. I also like just regular fried Spam with rice and maybe some eggs. I like it for breakfast. I like that one. Okay, so I'm going to answer this one. How did you and Tony meet? If you're new to my channel, Tony was my partner of 11 years who unfortunately passed away last year after a 2.5-year cancer battle. But we met at a baby shower, which is kind of unusual and different. A friend of mine, it was actually technically it wasn't a baby shower. It was what do you call it that the kids do these days where you reveal the sex of the baby? The gender reveal party. So back in my day, you had a baby shower for the first child and that was it. These days, it's baby shower, gender reveal party, and you do it with every child too. Back in my day, it was just the one. But hey, I love a good party. So I say, bring it on. But that's actually where we met. Do you have a best lesson learned and worst lesson learned from Scientology? Oh, Mikey Dubs, that's a good one. Do you have a best lesson learned and worst lessons learned from Scientology? I think one of the best lessons that I learned, which isn't so much I don't accredit to Scientology as much as I do surviving Scientology, and that would be to always do your best to think for yourself, to make your own decisions. Kind of like, it's good to get information and sometimes you want to get advice from somebody else. But I find thinking things through and being more responding to things instead of being reactive is my biggest lesson since leaving Scientology. I did not learn that from them, quite the opposite. But in my healing from this cult, I've learned that the more I can process information and respond rather than react, then for me, that just feels healthier. That's right, Northern Girl. If you have a second baby, they call it a sprinkle. Yeah, no, Jersey Jan. I didn't learn to think for myself in Scientology. It was in spite of. And as far as the worst lesson learned, oh my gosh, probably the opposite of that. Just giving control of your life and your autonomy over to somebody else or to an organization, a high control group like Scientology. That'd probably be the worst lesson. Hopefully that answers your question. And you're right, Jersey Jan. That is like totally not, did not learn that. A lot of things I learned in spite of, like because of the struggle of living a life in a cult like Scientology and growing up and then trying to move beyond that. They weren't lessons from Scientology. NYC girl, do you believe in the paranormal? Absolutely. There's a lot that I can explain that happens around here. So yes, absolutely. I don't have any set belief at this point, but I know that there's definitely something greater than us and other energies, spirits, whatever you want to call it, that are around. Gregory, good to see you. How did you manage to become a good skeptical thinker? I find most ex-Scientologists can't handle critical thought. You're a stunning exception. Well, one, thank you so much for that. I don't know. I guess I didn't really think of myself as a skeptical thinker, but I guess I am because I question everything. I want to think with it. I don't want to just blindly accept anything anymore because that's what we did in Scientology, in the Sea Organization, which is Scientology's paramilitary branch. You don't question, you just obey and you execute orders. And just because somebody tells me something, it doesn't mean it's true. It also doesn't mean it's not true, but that's for me to decide for myself. And it's also okay with me if somebody else thinks something different, if that's their reality and where they're at. Gregory, I think it's just a matter of we all heal at different speeds and in different ways, and we're all different people to start with. And I think it has a lot to do with that as well, kind of a we are who we are. Tay Mason, hey from New Zealand. Julia, good to see you. Let me get this moving. Vanessa Winbury, paranormal, great answer. Natalie, I was agnostic for the longest time after leaving Scientology. I hear that. RFS tables, I do remember you visiting a church a while ago. How's that journey for you? Are you talking about when I was in Hawaii seeing my family? I went with my sister to her church, but it was nothing very deep. Amazing coffee, good music, very friendly people, and a positive message. If that's the one you're talking about. I did speak as a guest speaker at another church. Oh my gosh, that was sometime last year too. I think it was in November. But again, it was as a speaker. I wasn't joining the church. So I have not visited a church with the intention of joining. All right, I'm going to grab a question from here. What inspired you? I feel like I might have answered this one. What inspired you to start your YouTube channel? For me, it was about recognizing that I was able to leave Scientology with 3 generations of my family in large part because of the people who came before me and spoke out about it. So I felt strongly that I wanted to pay that forward. SP Crusader Lenny, do you have any specific interests like the free ones? I'm still on the mailing list and get all the latest bump from Scientology? Do you have any specific interests, like the free ones? I'm not sure. I don't have an interest in the free ones beyond the fact of, sharing whatever Scientology news there is about it. If that what you meant? Maybe try reword that a different way, Lenny, because I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure I totally understood that. Hey, Jess LaBarber. Aloha. It's Friday. It's Aloha Friday. I know, I'm so excited. What else do we got on this list here? Let's see. How do you deal with, this is an interesting question. How do you deal with hyper-independence after emotional neglect? That is a big question. Well, my understanding of hyper-independence is like when you've been emotionally neglected growing up, that you have an over sense of independence that I'll take care of myself. I'll do it myself. I don't need anybody else. If I got that right. How do I deal with it? I have gotten a lot better through actual just outright necessity, leaning on people. I think going through the death of my partner, I had no choice but to lean on people and not be so independent in ways. And it's been incredibly humbling and has shown me that I do have people in my life that I can lean on, and I don't need to be hyper independent, even though it is sometimes my default. But I'm really trying to trust the people around me who are there for me and lean on them. So I think maybe how I handle that is just by exercising that muscle and trying not to be so hyper independent. Isn't it funny that there's an unhealthy way to be independent? If there is one, I will find it. Gregory says, I have a video I need to send you comparing belief in the flat earth to Scientology. Do you feel that's a fair comparison? And then it kind of cut off. I don't know enough about flat earth beyond just that they think the earth is flat, which I don't know any more than that. So I don't know that I can compare it to Scientology. That's not a belief in Scientology. I do know that. But maybe do you mean in terms of, could it be cult-like? Definitely send me some info because I don't know a lot about it. Vanessa, wow, never heard of hyper-independence, but that's me to a T. Yeah, Vanessa, it's a whole, when you experience emotional neglect, you don't get that nurturing growing up, you can become hyper-independent. Which again, it was news to me too, like, oh, that is a thing. And I have needed other people over this last year in a way that I've never needed other people before, and their help. And it's like I just waved the white flag and said, all right, help me. And it has been such a learning experience because what I learned through that is I can trust and depend on other people. For somebody like me, and maybe some of you can relate, growing up in a cult and having to be so independent and take care of myself, it's nice. It's a really good feeling to know that there are people like that. Interdependence, not codependent. RFS, yeah, exactly. Hey, Lou, Big Lou from Brighton Park. SP Crusader, I meant the Australia stuff I sent to T, Danish to Miriam. Is there a topic you'd specifically like? The latest on from the magazines. No, I think whatever, because I like to share, whatever is out there. I don't have a specific area. I like to share any kind of culty Scientology news. Flat Earth, I often say I'm not sure where I am with that. I'm on the edge. That's hilarious, RFS. That's really funny. Thank you, Julia. I love that you're so down to earth, Natalie. You're a breath of fresh air. I appreciate it. Breath of fresh air today, but you never know tomorrow. So I always like to say, keep the bar low. Linda Lou, this may not make sense, but how does the cult justify just an adult in a little body? Seriously, babies and children rely on adults to do pretty much everything for them. Well, they recognize that, when you have a small body, you're not as capable to do certain things. But their thought process and belief is that there are big beings in little bodies. So you're not really a child, you're this immortal being, which is a dangerous road to go down when it comes to a cult, because you're not really protecting children the way that you should be. Amy says, I'm an only child and a military brat. I have stealth hyper independence. Ooh, I get that. Hey, Danny. Good to see you. The only thing I know about Aloha is the concert Elvis did, LOL. RFS, stick around with this channel and you will learn a lot more about it. Reprise 53 says, don't try to apply reason and logic to something that contains no reason or logic. Good point. Gregory, it's 8 where you are. You're watching on replay, hoping power comes back on. Oh, dang. NYC girl, my next question is about a video you did in Hawaii, a short video in a car. An orb appears over your heart at about 10 seconds. It makes circles around your head and goes into you. Anyone else notice this? Oh, interesting. I didn't see that, but you know what? I didn't go back and watch the video either. So I don't know. I'll have to take a look at that. If you find it and isolate it, send me a clip, Natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. That's what she said. I start my Jeep, my phone connects to it. I shovel my driveway and return to the Jeep. I hear this voice coming out of the radio. I'm like, that sounds like Natalie. It was Natalie's radio voice. So your YouTube started playing in the car? That's fantastic. Vernon, good to see you. How do Sea Org members react when one of them unalives themselves? Does Scientology hide this from them? Yes. Scientology hides it from them. Scientology makes up some other excuse. Sometimes Scientology doesn't even tell other Sea Org members when other Sea Organization members have died or left. In the Sea Organization, you learn not to question. People just disappear. You know, there's rumors and things like that too. But really, it's more, they do hide it. They keep it from them. They definitely don't tell them the truth. Case in point, Kendrick Moxon, an attorney for Scientology. His own daughter was a member of Scientology's paramilitary organization known as the Sea Organization. She unalived herself, left a note. Scientology covered it up. The reason we know this is people who were there at that time have since left Scientology and turned whistleblower. So we know for sure that's what the deal is. Frog Green, what do you think about Aaron? You got to be more specific. That's kind of a general question. I think he's an amazing content creator, and he's been a good friend to me. And I think he's learning some good life lessons along the way. Where did all the bodies go before LRH? Not sure how to phrase this question, but I hope you understand. Achtung! Where did all the bodies go before LRH's BS? The bodies. I'm not totally tracking, but maybe you can add a little bit more to that and we can get back to it for sure. Luna, to what degree can you see the realism of our global dystopia when you have been raised with an unrealistic dystopic mindset? Oh, interesting. Would I know, though? In what degree can you see the realism of our global dystopia? I think in a way that's maybe even more real, because in Scientology and the Sea Organization, things seemed very dystopic at times. But that's a mindset they kept us in to keep us in fight or flight. But as far as the world and, situations, world events right now, if you mean in that way, honestly, I do my best I want to understand and know what's happening around me, but I also am very aware of what I can control and what I cannot control. And my primary focus goes on to the things that I can control, which is not a lot outside of me, if that answers it. That's a great question, though. If you've got a follow-up or a way, if I didn't answer that in a way that you meant it, by all means, jump in again. Vernon, did you know Aaron's twin brother? No, I did not. I did not know Aaron until I met him last year. Met him in person for the first time last year. Thank you, Anne. Yeah, I'm really grown in the gray now. I'm liking it. When my hair's, I like how when I wear my hair different ways, it looks different. I'm having fun with it. Vanessa, I bet they told everyone on the Sea Org base I had been posted at some crock of crap story that I left following my almost unaliving. Never the truth. They pass along acceptable truth. Yes, that's exactly true, Vanessa. And that really answers that earlier question too. Biggest, what's the difference between Scientology and Mormonism? Well, Scientology is not a religion based in God or a belief in God or Jesus. In Scientology, they say, oh, there's a higher power, but they don't get into it. There's no praying or anything like that. That is probably the biggest difference. Scientology's belief is really in that you've lived before and that you need to pay a lot of money to do Scientology's bridge to total freedom, and that you will attain spiritual enlightenment that way. And also, Scientology doesn't have any fancy underwear like the Mormons do. There's probably more differences, but those are the main ones that pop into my head. Honey in the Rock, thank you for being a member. So fun, and sauna and cold plunge are my jam. So good for menopause symptoms. Okay, I did this yesterday for those of you who are just jumping in here. There's a short on my channel you can see. I was surprised at how good my body felt afterwards. I've done a sauna and felt like crap. I've done a cold plunge and felt like crap. The two together somehow work. I totally would do it again. Aktung, trying to understand the BS, but what happened before LRH? I guess I'm not sure what you mean before LRH. In the world or in Scientology? Because there was no Scientology before LRH. But I'm not totally tracking. I'm so sorry. Am I getting closer? Danette, aloha to you as well. I appreciate that. Thank you. I love how you wake up, Osa. And that's the Office of Special Affairs. If you're new to my channel, that's a dirty tricks branch of Scientology. They like to spy and cause trouble and get in chats and try and create fights and discredit people who are out telling the truth about Scientology and their experience in it. Oh, thank you, Melody. From this morning, she says your face looks less swollen in a good way. I'll take it. Oh, I think too, in the mornings, my eyes are so puffy. No problem, Natalie, but it is what happened to humans before Scientology. Oh, yeah. Well, I think humans got along pretty well before Scientology. Scientology's really brought nothing, in my opinion, to humanity. Julia, yes, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. It's a statement I live by daily. Same. The stuff that's out of my control is out of my control. I think we'll make ourselves crazy trying to control things that, one, we aren't meant to control. Two, it's not within our control. We can only control how we show up or how we respond to things. Living the gray area. I didn't grow up in cults, but I did work in restaurants for 20 years and have found so many similarities. I would love to break it down one day. That is fascinating. You absolutely should. I would love to hear the correlation in some of what you think in terms of cult behavior or a cult way of thinking, how that would apply to working in the food industry. That's what she said peeps around here call them Jesus jammies, the LDS undies. I love that. Jesus jammies. Hey, over from Germany. Coffee is for controlling the things you can control. Wine is for accepting the things you can't control. Reprise, that's hilarious. Mac, where in Asia are your roots? Somewhere in China. My great-grandfather was from China, but I don't know exactly what part. That's the Asian part of our family. Asen, thank you. Yeah, the gray shows up differently depending on how my hair is, how I do it. Buttercup 49, you popping in for just a little chat between adulting. I read that as auditing. Oh my goodness. Living in the gray area, I hear you. I can totally see how that would work. Frog Green, I'm glad too that Scientology is not a religion in Germany. Luminius, I look like your aunt? Well, hey from Auntie. All right, I'm going to grab one of these questions from this list here. Oh, this is a good one. What's something people don't understand about grief? What are you doing, Step Auntie? What is something people don't understand about grief? You know what? I think I can share what I didn't understand about grief. And what I didn't understand about grief is that it was a process, that it is a process, that you don't just, oh, I've done all the crying I'm going to do about losing my partner and I'm done. No, I have times when I'm like, just, I'm happy, I'm content. And then an hour later, I could be just completely on the floor. Grief is a process. And I think that's something that I didn't understand about grief, and maybe other people too. Mac, no offense intended, but what do you think of Chinese aunties? I don't know what you mean by the question. I love my Chinese aunties. Most of my aunties are Hawaiian Chinese. That's right, living in the gray area. For me, I found that letting myself sob when I need to helps more than I realize. I so feel that. That is just going, like, letting it happen when it needs to. Danette, Natalie, to be completely honest, your channel is the only one I watch anymore. There's too much drama on the other ones, can't handle it. I think we all have to protect our mental health first, especially when it comes to social media and YouTube. And yeah, if you're exposing yourself to things that make you feel crappy and that's not really what you're going for, then by all means. There's this song I love. What is it called? Dang it. It's called, the lyrics are along the lines of surround yourself with people who feel like sunshine. And I'm a big believer in that. And I think it's the same with what we consume. I think what we can consume digitally should be as important as what we actually put in our bodies physically. If you're thinking about your health, you're not going to be on a diet of donuts, or as much as I would like to eat donuts every day, cannot do that. Not good for my health, not putting that in my body nonstop. It's the same way for our mental health. Maybe we need to think about it that way. What are we putting into our spirit, our souls, our minds mentally? What are we exposing ourselves to? That's what I think anyways. Thanks for the reminder, Mama Opal. Double tap that screen, y'all. Hit that like and subscribe. Vernon, how many ex-Scientologists are able to get their whole families out? Oh, if I had to guess, not many. I would probably say maybe 20 or 30%, and that truly is a guess. I mean, it took me 2 years to get out the family members that I left with. Donna, as many of us travel to destinations where family reside, is there somewhere or something you hope to visit or do in Hawaii? I hope to visit it again. So beautiful. Well, Donna, when I go back this spring, I'm going to go to the Big Island, which is where we scattered my Tony's ashes. And I want to go visit those, places where I did scatter his ashes. Most of them were in the ocean, but some are a few other little places that I want to go see. But for me, just going back home to Hawaii and connecting with the land, just putting your feet in that sand on the ground, in the grass. There's no real one thing though. It's just getting into this space does wonders for me. Asen, I think grief is not something you totally leave behind. With time, you learn to live with it and can find peace and happiness in between setbacks. So true. And that is a valuable lesson too about grief. That's what I feel like too, is because I'm crying on the floor and upset and I can't stop, it doesn't mean anything's wrong. I'm going through grief. It's a big deal. He mattered a lot. So my grief is going to be a lot at times. And I'm thankful to have it not be nonstop 24/7. I don't think I could handle that. And that is in large part because he told me over and over and over again before he died. He's like, I want you to have an amazing life. I know you're going to be sad. I know it's going to take time, but I want you to live your life and do those things that you want to do, that we talked about doing. Hey, Lisa Kelson. That's what she said. Loss of your person equals grief. You don't truly understand it unless you lived it. I hear that. It's just you don't want to. Yeah, it's you. I agree with you. I agree with you completely. It's a whole different kind of grief and loss. And I am so inspired by people who still walk this earth after losing their person or whoever the important person was to them, right? It could be your parents even, or God forbid, your child. Living in the gray area. Oh my God, my mental health. My neighbor lined our adjoining property line with a wall of horse poop. Oh my gosh. That is horrible. Magnus, do you have a fridge of total beardom these days? I don't drink alcohol, my dude. I don't. But I am a fan of the cannabis, and I do have some THC drinks in my fridge. But no beardom there for me. Vanessa, did you do a lot of crying in the bathroom in the Sea Org? Girl, yes. The bathroom, my room, but a lot in the bathroom. Did you do too? That was my cry room. Wow. I wonder how many, probably a lot of us. I did. I did a lot of crying in the bathroom in the Sea Organization. You and me both. We might have been next to each other crying. Yeah, Julie, I've heard too. Garlic is good for inflammation. Hey, Seattle Scientology Audit. Just wanted to say I appreciate you and love your content. You make me feel like we're old friends having a coffee together. I love that. And I want that. I feel that way too when I hop on here with you guys. And it's great me getting to know a lot of you who are new as well, because as my channel grows and when I'm doing a recap, it's like things happen so fast. I don't get to always focus on the chat. Oh, Greg Swanson, you're in NOAA Station Antarctica via our new Starlink system, or Starlink. You're the first thing that popped up on our Wi-Fi? No way. If so, that's super cool. John, no, I'm a former Scientologist. My channel's Life After a Cult, where I talk about exposing Scientology and other cults, how they act, how they try to recruit people online, how many people are being recruited and don't even realize it. And I try to bring some humor to it because it's a lot of ick. Lean on me always. That is a lot of loss. I'm so sorry. Trip 2, great show. I hope we can all turn a huge corner this year. Yes. Big love to you. You're the best. Kyle in East Grinstead. Hey, I went there once. I actually went to St. Hill to visit when I was still in Scientology. Lisa Kelson, this last week was 25 years since my brother, who was my very best friend, passed away from AIDS. I still cry for him, but I have learned to live a happy life. And I bet your brother would love that for you. That is a long time, but I hear you. That loss just travels with us. I think that grief just, it continues with us. We don't move on from it. We move with it. I think it just, the intensity, the volume of it being turned up so much early on is maybe not as loud, but it's still there. And our people matter. And I think when we can talk about them, and whether we're crying or laughing or thinking about fun times or sharing memories, that keeps them alive. It keeps that energy alive. Oh, Mock, you're so right. Grief is the price we pay for love. Exactly. Cliniac, I was in the cult of Scientology. 35 years, grew up in it, escaped with 3 generations of my family about 15 years ago. That's what she said. Do you like Fleetwood Mac? Absolutely. Music is healing. I could not agree anymore. Could not agree more. Oh, Asen, I love that too. Grief is the unexpressed love. Andrew Garfield. Thank you, Julia. I appreciate that. Yeah, Swedish Andrea. Yeah, I am so sorry for your loss, but you're right. You lost your father 3 years ago. The worst pain I ever felt. Feels different today, but still a huge void. Exactly. I lost my mom, oh my gosh, 13 years ago, I think it's been. And, you know, all those firsts, like when my grandchildren started being born, and I thought, oh my gosh, I mean, she should have been alive. My mother was only 59 when she passed away. She's 18 years older than me, and I'm 54 now, so do the math. She could have lived to see her great-grandchildren. She would have loved it. I miss stuff like that. I think about her a lot with those milestones, and I bet it's the same too with your parent. Vernon, do you think there was a chance Tony could have found his cancer earlier when it was just starting so he could have been cured? No. There were some other things. I don't know. I think I would say no because, well, he had two primary cancers. If they found the prostate cancer before it left his prostate, yes, that one could have been cured. But he had a rare and aggressive form of kidney cancer, and that is actually what ultimately is the cancer that killed him. And they found it at the same time they found the prostate cancer. So when he had surgery, he had his prostate and his kidney removed, but the kidney cancer must have gotten out, and there's no way of knowing on a, if it's cells and then those cells start to replicate. He was being treated for the prostate cancer, and at some point the kidney cancer just took off and overwhelmed his body, and then the prostate cancer started growing as well. So I'm not sure, maybe for the prostate cancer, but with the kidney cancer, which is ultimately what led to his death, I don't think so. Both were rare, aggressive forms of those cancers. So that he fought as long as he did was amazing. Swade, are cults dangerous? Yes, they are. James Steele is here. We can start the party. Lisa Kelson, I bet that everyone was taking turns crying in the bathroom and didn't know. Yes, because we weren't allowed. When we were in the Sea Organization, in this cult of Scientology, you're not allowed to express those emotions and go, oh, hey, I was so upset today, I cried in the bathroom. No, that person will write a report on you. They will write a report on you. And then you'll get pulled in and interrogated as to why are you going around complaining and sharing negative thoughts like that? Then you get security checked, and then you're doing manual labor. You just learn to keep your mouth shut. I hear you, Julia. Your dad died in '89. It still feels like yesterday. I hear that a lot. Trip, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, we move with the grief, Lisa. I really think that's what it is. And I found comfort in that. I really did. Yeah, Rachel, I agree. Fleetwood Mac is awesome. Luminous, what does Scientology believe in? Primarily, they believe that you live multiple lifetimes and that if you do their series of steps, if you pay enough money and you do what's called auditing in Scientology and you free yourselves of these alien beings that are attached to you, that you will have eternal freedom and you'll be able to remember your past lives because you won't be sent to this thing called the implant station where Scientology believes you go in between lives where your memory gets wiped. You get given a bunch of false ideas about yourself and religion and sent back to Earth to have your 2.5 kids and your white picket fence. That's kind of the gist of what Scientology believes there. It's a pay-to-play religion. You pay money, a lot of money, and then you donate money on top of that and you move up their levels, getting more expensive as it goes. That's right, Vanessa, you get told you're being banky. That's so true. That's so true. Luna says, I'm so sorry. I've saved that video for a time I can process your processing. It blows my mind. My grief is for core things I never even had that I deserved as anyone else. It's a different kind. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know which video, but I hope that is my biggest hope, that any of the work I do or the videos help somebody else, whether it's coming out of a cult or a high control group or even in dealing with grief, because it's so much of what my life is consumed with right now. Rachel, thank you for gifting a Scientology Life After a Cult membership. I appreciate that. I wish I had my aloha button with me. That would get an aloha. It's on my desk. Circled in red, you just got your 72-hour EEG hookup. Looking to further diagnose my brain injury rage response. Interesting. Well, we'll keep it really chill while you got that on. And I hope that they help figure out whatever's going on and can help you figure out a good path to healing for that. I remember experiencing a lot of rage when I was younger, but for me, it had more to do with, turns out I had a hyperactive thyroid. Yeah, a lot of that rage was related to those hormones being completely out of whack. Oh, James, I didn't know that. Your partner died of renal failure in 2007. Well, I did not know that, James. Aizen, thank you. Yep, Tony was a very special man. I am so glad that I got to share him with you guys, even if for a little bit. That makes me so happy that he was willing to do that now, because now we all have those memories. Julia, that's what happened to my aunt. Her cancer spread over her entire body. Yeah, it went fast. It was when he was undergoing treatment for the prostate cancer, that was working. But all of a sudden, the kidney cancer that wasn't there was there and was everywhere. Defunct, had a partner pass on my birthday. Oh my God, almost 7 years ago. Then my mother 2 days later. Then my father over 2 years ago. Miss them all still. I get that. I feel that. I lost my dad 10 weeks before Tony died. I hear you. Doesn't it just suck? It just does. But I'm glad it's something that we can talk about, and talking about it for me with you guys helps me normalize the grief process. And I think it's important we do that. It's not something that we're not in the Sea Org anymore. We don't have to go cry alone in the bathroom like we did back in the day. Although I like a good shower cry, I have to say. It's probably my favorite place to cry because it can be messy. And there's something about that hot water. Mar has a question. If you could invite one famous actor, actress, and one famous singer to dinner, who would that be? Okay, singer for sure, Jack Johnson. Famous actor or actress? It would have to be Tom Cruise. So I can just be like, dude, what is up? What is up? What are you getting out of Scientology? Do you not know about the human rights abuses, or do you just not care? Probably have to be him. I don't think I could pass up the opportunity. Brian, is it true that Scientologists believe in that alien meatball monster thing? You were probably thinking of Xenu, the galactic overlord. Now, who knows what he really looks like, so I don't know that he's really a meatball monster, but Scientology lore and belief says that he was a galactic overlord over this galactic federation, and there was an overpopulation problem, so he rounded up all these people/aliens, threw them into volcanoes on Earth, blew them up with bombs, hydrogen bombs to be specific, and then their souls ended up attaching to humans. Scientologists pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn about that and then to audit, it's called auditing, these attached entities. Yeah, they don't find out till after they leave Scientology that none of it is true, and that L. Ron Hubbard, do you know how he discovered that? He was taking phenobarbital while auditing himself. And I'm told phenobarbital causes you to feel like you split into a million different pieces. So of course he started thinking there were entities attached to him, an alien, and came up with this whole thing. Of course, they don't tell you that in Scientology, that the founder was on drugs while he was figuring all this stuff out. Circled in red, you never wrote a knowledge report on anyone? That is awesome. NYC girl, I gotta go find it. If it was one from Hawaii, it shouldn't be too hard. If you remember what was happening in the video, I can find it even more. Oh, Vanessa got a free membership from Rochelle. Thank you. That's so awesome. You guys tell me, what celebrity would you want to have dinner with? Vernon, are there Scientology celebrities who are in the Sea Org? I think Leah Remini was. Yes, Leah Remini was in the Sea Org. I don't think Giovanni Ribisi was ever in the Sea Org. I don't think any of the Mastersons were in the Sea Org. I don't think Jason Lee was in the Sea Org. Neil Gaiman. I'm pretty sure Neil Gaiman was in the Sea organization. Those are the only ones I can think of, though, as far as Scientology celebrities that were in the Sea Org. There might be more, though. James, I appreciate that, James Steele. The space you've created helps us all, I think. Me too. It really helps me. Bonjour, Sir Rick James. Thanks, NYC girl. Yeah, I would love to see that if you find it. Vernon, did you know Chris Shelton or the Headleys when you were in Scientology? I think I met Chris Shelton at the org in Minneapolis here in the Twin Cities one time. But he might have come right after I left. So maybe not, but I've met him. When he left Scientology, I did meet him, but I'm not positive I met him when I was in, and I never met the Headleys. Even to this day, I've never met them. I did not know them in the Sea Org. They were at the international base. I was Susie Nobody at the Blue Buildings, working in the galley in the dining room. And then I got sent to another organization that was like Dunder Mifflin Middle Management, and really, I was there too. Thank you. Does it matter to you, not to me? Remember to hit that like and subscribe, y'all. Wow, Luna, that's amazing. It's so each body rejects differently treatment. Wow. So is your dad has 3B doing amazingly well. That's awesome. A said, the only rage I ever felt is when someone hurts my kids. Oh, yeah. My daughter says when I'm angry, there's a fire burning in my eyes. Girl, I once got rear-ended with my kids in the back seat when they were younger. I was going to rip this girl's face off. Like, I turned so quick. It was like being a vampire or a werewolf, just suddenly. She saw me coming too. We pulled over. She rear ends me, and I saw her driving like a lunatic. I was trying to get out of the way. I'm trying to get out of the way because I got my sisters in the car. Oh, and my 12-year-old sister. Yes, you heard that right. My dad didn't figure out how babies were made for a long time. So my 12-year-old sister was in the car too with my kids. We get rear-ended by this lunatic. We pull over. I go up. I was going to pull this girl out of the car. This was years ago. And I'm banging on her windshield because she, of course, puts her windows up because she sees me coming. And the reaction was purely because my kids were in the car. I was rear-ended another time. I live in Minnesota. It snows. It happens sometimes. I was probably hit harder in that one. I got out of my car and I wanted to check on the other person. I felt no rage at all. But when I got hit with my kids in the car, girl, good thing that girl rolled up her windows like she did. But I calmed down because somebody pulled over. And I was like, ooh, reel it in, reel it in. Lisa, I'll always remember Tony dancing around you and laughing with that beautiful smile of his. That was only weeks before he passed. He was an amazing man who has left a huge legacy. I appreciate that so much, Lisa. Thank you. Defunct, I agree. The support here is fabulous. Luna, that's a great point. We normalize his condition. He's just human doing his human. How long was Tony married to his boy's mom? Cheryl, I think they were married for 11 years. I think. That sounds about right. I think that's about right. Which is funny because that's how long Tony and I were together. Yeah. Hey, Paralyzed to Paralyze. Yeah, that's right. If anybody's talking about Xenu, he owes child support to Feral Cheryl. I agree. Wildman, Scientology is a bad sci-fi movie. In fact, Scientology put out a bad sci-fi movie. You remember Battlefield Earth with John Travolta? A lot of people would not like to remember that one. Joey, thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend too. Wow, Julia, I didn't know they still use that drug. Interesting, they use it for dogs. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. I still have that fabulous little bag you made me. Samantha, what would you say to a current Scientologist who's been abused and has been told it's their fault? I think the first thing I would probably say is, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. That there are things in Scientology that Scientologists are operating off of. Scientology has been abusive since day one. It's not your fault, but it is something that you need to get away from and rebuild your life. I think that would probably be the first thing that I'd say. Lisa says, I hate how the cult of Scientology uses the word terminal to call a fellow human being. Exactly. Dehumanizing. That's one of the things Scientology does with a lot of their words, is how can we dehumanize? You're not a person, you're a terminal. You're not known by your name, you're called by your job title. There's just example after example. You're not new to Scientology, you're raw meat. That's their word. Ooh, Julia, I don't know who Ian Somerhalder is. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, that's right. Be merry for life. Yeah, the jumpster looked, I remember it looking bigger. Pup Groomer, thank you so much for gifting 5 Life After a Cult memberships. Aloha! I don't have the button, but you get the aloha button for that one. I should have grabbed it. Next time I'll grab it. Amber, Placido Domingo Jr. was in the Sea Org. Oh, I forgot about that. But whenever his favorite opera singer dad would call, they would send him home. Oh yeah, I bet they did. I always pissed me off when celebrity or celebrity adjacent people got special treatment in the Sea Org, yet the rest of us didn't. Heinrich, hey, aloha to you over there in Germany. Thank you for being here. That's right, Vanessa. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Vernon, do you think in the future Scientology will recognize if they want to keep their members, they have to be less abusive? Yes and no, because I would hope that that would happen. That's what you would think logically might happen. But the problem is, in Scientology, one of the biggest rules, if you have to follow what L. Ron Hubbard said, and you can't change it. What he said was final, and it's him. It's the rules he wrote. It's the things he wrote and said in lectures that's abusive. The disconnection policy came from him. Fair game, being able to go after somebody because they criticize Scientology, that's from him. Locking people in a locker on a ship, that's from him. It all comes from him. So to become less, it would have to be not Scientology anymore, which is fine. If that's what it takes to get rid of the abusive practices. I don't care what they believe. You can believe about Xenu. You can audit your aliens off of you all you want. That's fine. But get rid of the disconnection policy. Let people leave when they want. Don't force people to work all of these hours without being paid a fair wage for it. It's slave labor. It's human trafficking when you move people around the way you do in Scientology to cover up abuses or for labor. Me and Taz, have you thought how everyone will celebrate when Scientology is destroyed? I really haven't. I haven't, but gosh, the more I learn about how many other cults and online culty things there are, I feel like, oh my God, there's so much work to be done still. But that would be a first step, and it would be a big one. And I don't know how I would celebrate, but I would. Jojo, if you had your time again, what job or profession would you study and do? Oh my goodness. I think I would do something in psychology. I'm fascinated with what makes people tick. I would have loved to study that legitimately, not in Scientology, but legitimately. Hey, no one. Aloha to you, doll. Good to see you here. Lisa, I'm so happy you love your bag. Unfortunately, I'm displaced in the LA fires. I lost my entire textile library. Oh, Lisa, that's horrible. Oh, that sucks. I'm glad you're okay, though. Hey, Derek Webster. Look at that. We got the same last name. Do you know anything about addiction? I mean, in what way? I have a lot of addiction in my family. I have a lot of experience with it. But as far as anything outside of that, beyond my experience, not too much. But if you have a specific question or something you want to talk about it, go ahead and pop it in there. If I don't know an answer, maybe someone else does. Ooh, Vanessa's watching Heaven's Gates docuseries and seeing their terms was mind-blowing, like they refer to bodies as vehicles. So many similarities across cults. I agree. Luna, that's a good point. I'd say Scientology is its very own addiction. That makes sense too. I can see that. Okay, so Derek says, now consider how the process of removing the tons mimics the process of admission, recognition, and forgiveness. Removing the tons mimics. I'm not totally tracking, Derek. Maybe you can kind of say that again in a different way. That's right, Reprise. Battlefield Earth sucked. It could have been a good movie if someone who knows how to make it. I know. I didn't hate the book. I actually am probably I'm probably a minority here, but I enjoyed reading Battlefield Earth, and I enjoyed reading the Mission Earth series. Some people say, like, it's the worst science fiction I've ever read. Okay, maybe I haven't read a lot of science fiction. I have watched a lot of science fiction, but not read. But I did enjoy those books when I read them, even if L. Ron Hubbard did write them. Dude should have just kept to that. He never should have gotten to the whole religion thing, but I get it. He was trying to make a bunch of money. Pup groomer, exactly. I don't protest against them necessarily because of the beliefs. I protest against the abusive and damaging actions. I agree. And I think it's important to remember that so many Scientologists, they don't know about the abuses and the things that have happened to them, the way they've been victimized, often financially. They are keeping it secret. They are holding that in. There's a lot of shame. They think I've spent all this money. I just have to see it through. That's a lot of what goes on through the mind of a Scientologist. Hey, Feral Cheryl, you lurking and driving girl. Hey, Liz Gale, good to see you. Carla's loving wife, do you think that they will become so small they will become more of a landmark type learning community? Yes, I do. I don't see Scientology completely going away because look at other cults and things that still exist that should not. I see it going more that route. And maybe then they'll do away with some of the abusive practices. Maybe the people who practice Scientology outside of the actual church can do it in a way that at least doesn't hurt people. Derek, so as such, does this not indicate that Scientology is merely utilizing the exact process set out by the major religions as well as the 12-step groups such as NA and AA and psychiatrists? I don't think they're utilizing the exact process. L. Ron Hubbard came up with very specific steps to brainwash and control people, which I think are different from like 12-step programs. He uses a much more insidious approach where you are mind controlling yourself to keep your blinders on when it comes to Scientology. That's a fantastic question and point, though. Oh, Jojo, what is your biggest strength and worst weakness? Huh. Oh my gosh, that's a great question. What is my biggest strength? I don't know. What is my biggest strength? Lately, I feel like it's just my ability to not take on energy that's not mine, not take on problems that are not mine, and just focus on me and what I'm doing and what's within my control. I feel like that's a muscle I really had to work, and I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I comfortably can live that way. My worst weakness. Oh, I don't know. I think it's probably in that, and this is something that I'm working on a lot, is knowing when to stop, knowing when to slow down, not pushing myself so hard. Some people in life, they're like, I just want to be more motivated. I have the opposite problem. And a lot of that is my upbringing in Scientology, my time in the Sea Organization, which is Scientology's paramilitary branch, where you have to work at such a high level, an intense level. It's not healthy. And I have spent years working on trying to find a balance between doing what needs to be done enough without overdoing it to the point where it's not good for myself or my family. And I think even if you didn't grow up in a cult like I did, that's probably a common thing, right? How do you find that balance between work and family or your own self-care and your own interests, yet still be raising kids or taking care of a family or a partner? I'm in a different place in my life right now. For the first time in my life, it's just me to think about. Vernon, is there any way California can ensure that underage Scientology kids are not working in the Sea Org as staff members? Not as far as I know. Hey, Bruno. As far as I know, no. I mean, they have, I think there'd have to be a crackdown on really finding out how many hours these kids are working. Because even working under a religious work, I think there's still laws and rules around that. But I don't know for sure. No one. I realized I have an addictive personality. Well, recognizing it is the first step. That's what they say. Defunct. In my younger years, I got a degree in psych, social anthropology, and postgrad social work. I think you would have loved everything I studied, actually. That sounds super cool. It really does. Derek, is Scientology just simply coping this well-known and documented system? Copying. Which system? I'm sorry, I have to go back and look. I think Scientology, the things that work in Scientology come from other places. I think that's for sure. The things in the beginning when you first start in Scientology that are helpful can be found other places and for free, by the way. Oh, Luna, I'm so glad. Thank you. Donna, does Scientology have any accommodation for people with physical disabilities or born deaf or has Down syndrome? What happens to them? No, Scientology doesn't make hardly any, if any, accommodations for somebody who has some type of a disability like that. L. Ron Hubbard himself said Scientology exists to help the able become more able. And basically, they define able by you have a credit card or a bank account and can pay them money. Now, if you're somebody who, here, case in point, my first stepdad, Donna, some people might remember, was paralyzed. He was an artist, but he had gotten into a car accident and he was paralyzed. He was a paraplegic. And he had in Scientology, you have to hold on to the cans. He had special cans made for him that would be in the shape of his hands because his hands were like this. But that was an accommodation that he made himself. But they do not go out of their way to make accommodations for people who would be born deaf or who have Down syndrome. What happens to them? Hopefully their family members take care of them and they can live whole lives. But to be honest, I don't remember meeting anyone in Scientology who had Down syndrome. Great gig in the sky. What was your go-to candy bar as a kid? What about now? What was Tony's fave? When I was a kid, it was probably Reese's Pieces, peanut butter cups. It still is if I'm going to eat candy. I also love Reese's Pieces. I just love that combination. Tony, he loved red vines. We would often have a giant thing, the Costco size red vines. That's what she said. Your voice over the radio, it sounded spot on, like a professional radio personality. That's awesome. I love that. Luna, addiction is its own most perfect system in any form, the human and all self-imprisonment wrapped in ever deeper denial. Oh, I hear that. Jojo says, I love when you smash little Davy on the microphone and your skit with Aaron was hilarious. Please do more. I absolutely will. And there might be other people who are calling in my Life After a Cult hotline, wondering if they are in a cult. Just wait and see. Wait and see. Kaladesi Donna. I love that name though. Love watching all Natalie content and others in this movement that aren't into the drama. This is a safe community. I hope for it to be, and that is the goal. And the more that we're here just supporting each other and keeping it aloha, we can totally do it. And I think we also can have difficult conversations and talk about things that are hard in a way that's not hurtful with, trying to hurt somebody else. I think we can do that. That's right, Noah, communication. Asen says your biggest strength is you being Switzerland in all the chaos. I just, if I can't help, then the least I can do is not harm, not add fuel to a fire that's already going. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that I care about in this community, and they're having their struggles too, and they're going through their healing as well, and sometimes it's messy. And I think the most we can do sometimes is just to hold space for somebody as they go through something that's difficult and try to not make it worse for them. And that's hard. And sometimes that means even, pulling away sometimes, because we also have to protect ourselves and our own mental health. And it can't just always be about somebody else. You got to look out for yourself too. So I always encourage people, if you feel like you need a break from social media, like you need to go touch some grass, then by all means do. Carla's loving wife, we can tell you what your strengths are. Courage, strength, honesty, positivity, respect of others. I can keep going. That is so kind of you to say. Thank you. I appreciate that. Derek, do you feel you have an understated lifestyle and therefore people rarely know what you are thinking? Do you feel you have an understated lifestyle? I don't quite understand that, Derek. Maybe you could explain that to me. And therefore people rarely know what you're thinking. I'm not totally tracking, but that sounds like a fascinating question. But maybe you could ask it a little different way. That's right, Luna. Nothing is free. Hey, Sam. Oh, I'm really behind this chat. Lumen, I'm just going to call you Lumen. Are you still following a different faith now, or have you stopped believing in any religion? I'm not following a current faith that's organized in any way, I guess. I think about spirituality in terms of energy. I often wonder, like, where's Tony when he died? Was that it? Is his spirit, him, still around? I think so. So I feel like there's more than just our physical bodies. I just know it's not what Scientology told me. Derek, Natalie, do you feel that the gratification of being recognized by a like-minded community can become a type of addiction? The gratification of being recognized by a like-minded community can become some type of addiction. I suppose. I mean, I think anybody, if people can be addicted to eating Tide Pods, then I suppose they could be addicted to that as well. Oh, Vanessa, you started Tim Fletcher's new podcast? Yes. Oh, and he mentions 90% of those dealing with addiction stem from childhood trauma. Well, makes sense. I'm so glad you're listening to his stuff. I love it. I really do. Oh, no one, that's right. I loved Brian so much. He always had a smile for everyone. Very true. He is very missed. Oh, Amber says they did have a kid in the Sea Org, in the cadet organization, who had Down syndrome. The older kids were always watching her, and she did everything we did. Well, that's good. That's awesome. I hope she got good care. Luna, why the terror over ECT when you're using a Thames machine meter? I know, right? You would think Scientology would be like, oh. Do executives in Scientology get better food 3 times a day? Yes, they do. The higher up you were in the Scientology hierarchy in the Sea organization, the better service, the better dining room you had, all of that. Derek, do you believe in past lives? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't not believe it, but I don't fully believe it. I really don't have that figured out yet. Sam, case on post is DevT in Scientology. Yeah, totally. And that, again, that's part of the mind control and the brainwashing that, oh, when you're working, you should have no concerns about your personal life or you or your well-being. You should just be focused on your job. Yeah, that's super healthy. Lisa, I missed the phone call with Aaron. I got to find that and watch it. Yeah, I was going to make a short out of it, and something's going on with my YouTube app. I can't make shorts out of my videos. I'm going to try again today. Hopefully it's working. But it's from yesterday's live stream, and I did put it in the timestamp, so you can even go straight to it if you want. Sam, and expressing any negative emotions is deemed case on post. Exactly. You're not allowed to feel those emotions. It's so dumb. Not healthy at all. Carla's loving wife says, I think you should do a random 15, 20-second dance break each live with the positive music you're collecting. Get us moving and smiling. I love it. If it weren't for the copyright strikes I would get, it'd be fun. But we could still do a dance break, just probably not the music that we want. Lumen, the head of Scientology, doesn't give you anything for the money except maybe a pat on the back, recognition if you give enough money. It's all about what you're doing for Scientology financially. They're very much a what have you done for us lately? Oh, you donated $10,000 last week, but what have you done for us lately? It's totally like that. Amber, Natalie, I like that you keep the drama down and you just be you. It's like that it's just a calm chat. Yeah, that's how I like it. You know, I don't have the bandwidth for a lot else. A lot of it's out of just like, pure survival. And life is too short. I gave up enough of my life to a human trafficking cult called Scientology. I don't want to forfeit any more of my happiness over things that I have no control over, especially now. Since Tony died, more than ever, I feel so strongly about that. So strongly about it. And I have no problem. Like, it doesn't exist to me, not in my world. This is what I'm focused on doing, and I try to focus on, on that, because I just don't want to waste time being unhappy. Oh, Julia, thank you. I love that too, and I feel it often. Oh, I am a little behind there. Gunther at Gunther's Place. What is the biggest secret about Scientology that most people don't know? Oh, good question. Oh my gosh, that most don't know. I feel like everybody knows about Xenu and body thetans now. So what would be a big secret that they don't know? Probably I would say that I don't think a lot of people know how many people were held against their will in Scientology as punishment. Literally kept prisoner, like not allowed to leave, being put on security watch. I was put on security watch when I wanted to leave. That means somebody's with you 24/7 to make sure you don't take off. So probably something along those lines. Though I kind of feel like more and more people are finding that out. Yeah. Ooh, watch out, Wyatt is starting a cult. Make it a fun one, Wyatt. Antics of a Mama Squirrel. You really like that chartreuse shirt on you. Was that today? Yeah, that was actually a dress, which I wore over my pajama pants. I just like the way the top looks, and I wanted to wear something bright on Aloha Friday. So, in fact, I still have my pajama pants on. I just put a dress over it. That's right, Kraken. That's literally trafficking. Oh, Northern Girl, you have a puppy sleeping in your lap? Oh! Sounds so cute. Circled in red, I was abducted and held prisoner by Scientology. See, that's what I'm talking about. They'll come find you. They hunt people down at train stations, bus stations, airports if you try to get away. Great gig in the sky. If you went on a month-long road trip across the U.S., where would you go and who would you want to visit? Ooh, I would probably, where? I would probably maybe go east, because I've not done a lot of traveling on the east part of the country. I don't know who I'd visit. I'd probably go visit Marilyn Honig, because I think she lives in Vermont. But I don't think I know anyone else off the top of my head that's that way. But I think that's what I would do. I would want to do. Or maybe south, depending on the time of year. But I love a road trip. I would love to do something like that. I really would. Amazing short nails. I'm a biter, Mercedes-Benz. I somehow, almost 9 years ago, was able to give up drinking alcohol, but I cannot stop biting my nails. Sometimes I think, okay, I'm going to bite my nails, but I'm not going to drink. Thank you, Dr. MLS. I'm glad. Just throwing it up these days is so much more easier. Well, this was a lot of fun again, you guys. I think it's great to be able to jump on here and connect and hit some of your questions, especially ones that I can't always catch during the replay, during my live streams. And I hope those of you that are new come and join us and have fun in the chat. You're very welcome on my channel. We have a lot of fun, even though we talk about culty things. So, Marilyn's husband is building a cabin. Ooh, yeah, now I definitely have a reason to go. But thank you guys so much. Please hit that like and subscribe. I'm going to be back on tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time doing a recap about some Scientology and culty news. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of today. Have a great time. And most importantly, have a cult-free day. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you guys for being here.